me?
Yeah, I see you. You sideways though.
Okay. Let me see how I'm gonna fix that. Hold on a second. Okay. All right. How about now?
Yep.
Okay.
It's great.
There we go. All right. Is my whole head in it on your side?
The top is
Do
a
I need to
little
bring it up a little bit?
yeah. It's it was it's in there
How
now.
about now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. We made it. We got
All
this
right.
thing moving. We got it
Ah,
working.
I
You know
like your
it's gonna be
shirt,
good.
art builder. That's cool.
Yes, thank you. You know it's gonna be good when there's some challenges. So
Exactly.
we gonna go ahead and get it ready here today. Um, so for everyone out there, we're on Ava the Aviator's page, and today we want to just welcome everybody in. We're doing a conversation that I call the Art Talk Build, and I'm excited today because this is a special sister to me. Okay. This young lady's whole family is my family, and my family is hers. Her husband is
Yeah.
my brother. Her parents are my parents. We even found out, like maybe a year or two ago, that we have a genetic tribal connection. So we're
Mm-hmm.
talking to a powerful sister today who is a CEO of her own company, Her Records. This young lady is also an author, an entrepreneur, a singer, an actress. There are some classic movies that you will have seen her in. Okay, and I'm excited today because she's going to be talking about one of her latest creations today, which is her album Take Flight. And just to share with everyone, the theme of the Art Talk Build is to talk to people who, in the midst of all this transition we're going through, pandemic, political shifts, all that, so often we're getting hit with this feeling of uncertainty. We don't know what next year will bring. Some people don't know what'll happen to their families. But I
Mm-hmm.
believe in the midst of this, there are people who are bringing something fresh to the table, whether it's art, whether it's information, whether it's healing, whether it's technology. So that's what the Art Talk Build. I want to talk to people who are bringing something fresh. So I'm not going to go on too much longer. I want to kind of just give some space because I just said a few things about you here today, Ava. But if you could kind of tell people who you are before we jump into this, some of the things that are significant to who you are and what's made you on your journey.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. Wow, this year, man.
Yeah. Right.
When I tell you I have been through the fire and I have been through the flood, Lord Jesus.
Absolutely.
I am Ava the Aviator, singer-songwriter. Jamil is my brother. Man, like beyond us doing this interview here, like he has definitely walked me through many phases of life. He walked me through my pre-dating life, single life, and when the I don't know if your listeners know about your love coaching, but when I tell you it is legit, his love coaching is legit. He was like, Ava, we're gonna walk through your background, your childhood, figure out what's going on there and why you may be attracting a certain type of person. And we did the work, like Iyanla Vanzant said.
Did the work.
And I remember Jamil telling me, he said, after I work with someone, within 2 years, they'll have their person, they will have attracted their soulmate, which is what happened in my life. So now he's walking us through marriage and what that looks like as a young couple and stuff like that. So this is my family right here. So I'm excited to be here. Who am I? I think you said it all in terms of being a singer, songwriter, CEO of a company that does music production for other companies, music production for other artists, promotional material. I'm an author of a book called The Psychological Effects of Music. And also I do speaking for different organizations around the country, which I did not know was a part of who I was supposed to be. I always thought it was just music and just singing, but it morphed into me having something to say after doing a lot of studying. I know we've had a lot of deep talks, and I took probably a year break from church for a while because I used to be like a praise and worship singer, real heavy into like being at church every other day. I was there all day on Sunday, you know, and I took a little break. And during that break, I started to discover, like really discover like who God is. Someone asked me the other day, is your music, are you gospel? Are you R&B? I was like, I category for it. I would probably say conscious or enlightened music, or thriving instead of survival music in 2021. That's what I'm on.
Hey, that's powerful. You just said something key right there. Thriving instead of survival. That's a very powerful statement right there.
Exactly. And you know, because I feel like television and everything that's going on right now, it has us all in survival mode just by default. We're like, wait a minute, okay, let me get on my toilet paper. Everybody's like, we're gonna survive with this toilet paper.
Like that's gonna feed you.
Exactly. You're gonna be hungry, but you're gonna have some toilet paper.
But I'm gonna have my toilet paper. Right.
Exactly.
Straight. let me ask you this, Ava. Let me ask you this. I read something that you had in your own bio, which I thought was interesting. It said that you've been singing as far back as you can remember. So sound, that just kind of made me feel like sound, the technology and the soul of sound has been really big with you. Can you kind of talk to me about what that experience was for you, always having sound? What was your origins with sound and everything? How did it start?
Oh, you want to go deep? Okay.
Well, I just want to start there because it's about your album. So I want to hear from you and let everybody hear, like, how did your origin start with sound?
So, like my mom, when I was like 4, I was learning like you know the beginning words and stuff like that. And for some reason, I couldn't remember like how to spell certain words like R-E-D, red. Couldn't remember it. And my mom started to make up little songs, and I remember the song. It was like R-E-D, R-E-D. And for whatever reason, that stuck beyond her actually saying, this is how you spell red. Wow. And a lot of times, like at school, we sing the ABCs, we sing different things, and then all of a sudden that art or that the way that we learn gets lost later on after we go to like 5th grade, 10th grade, we stop doing that. And so I basically could sing really before I could talk because I really gravitated to music and sound. My grandmother had this big old rusty, dusty, ashy looking piano where the tunes was kind of sounded like it was off a horror movie. Sometimes you hit the wrong note, but she didn't care. She used to let me bang on it as a little kid before I could actually make a real song. And then after so many years, the banging on the keyboard started turning into actual melodies and songs and sounds. And so I didn't realize how significant that was until about, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago, when I started stumbling up on the info that it led to me writing and recording The Psychological Effects of Music. And I started to study because I just got really curious. I'm like, music has a way of changing how people feel. Like if I play this song, you're gonna be happy. If I play leaving on the midnight train to Georgia, you're gonna start thinking about, you're gonna
Right.
feel like this,
Right.
this feeling of, ooh, I gotta be in this person's world. Or if I play Dreaming with the Broken Heart by John Mayer, you're gonna feel this sorrow. Or if I play Whoa, Whoa, You Make Me Happy.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be like, hey. So
you're gonna be moving.
Exactly. So I started exploring how powerful music is, and that it affects how people feel, it affects what they do. And then ultimately I started to study how it affects people's behavior, how they spend their money. I haven't really talked about it much because it's kind of a taboo secret, if you will, about how much music has been used to shift our whole culture, how it's been used to shift especially behavior, and especially in the Black community, but not even just the Black community, worldwide, how it shifts how we do relationships. I started to be really responsible with how I listen to music, and after that, my whole life changed. And I was like, wait a minute, there's something to this, more to this music stuff. Because just a regular example, you could be riding down the street, and I remember back when Keisha Cole was like super big, and she had a song called "I Should Have Cheated You." She was talking about, she was thinking her man was cheating, and I was like, that one little thought, that one little seed would have you go home and be like, boo, what you been up?
Looking all crazy.
And I'm like, wait a minute, why am I insecure all of a sudden? And then just listen to Keisha Cole on the way home. So I started noticing how all of those seemingly small details and how we listen to music and how it affects us really does affect our behavior in our entire life, our entire destiny. And then I ran up on this article by, have you heard of this? It was an anonymous article that came out a while ago. It was called, you know what I'm talking about? What am I saying?
They need to know about it. Say it.
It was called Hip Hop, the Meeting That Changed the Generation. Is that what you
Secret meeting that changed hip hop? Yep.
Exactly. And after reading that article, it just like changed my whole way of thinking. If you haven't read that article, you should go look it up. But basically, it was like a group of. Should I go into it, Jamil?
It's your floor. I'm gonna tell you this right now, Dave. I'm gonna tell you this right now. We're gonna have to do some part 2s and 3s and all kind of other stuff. So just take your time.
Okay.
We're gonna let it flow. Go into it.
Okay. Because I haven't even started talking about the album. I'm like,
right. Setting the stage for
it. All right. So I read this article about how there was this executive, he wanted to remain anonymous because he was afraid for his life. And he was invited to like this big mansion in the Hollywood Hills, and there were some men there that invited him, but he didn't know who they were. But when he looked around the party, he saw that it was like a whole bunch of his music industry friends that were there. And so they made them sign non-disclosures, which he thought was odd. He's like, okay, why am I signing a non-disclosure? But to make a long story short, these men were there literally because they were the CEOs of a particular company. And they were there to ask, I don't even know if you could call it asking, but demanding that all of the music label executives start to push more music that made you want to get lit, get high, act gangster, act crazy, all of this stuff, all for the purposes of increasing their prison population. So it turns out these men were the owners of privately owned prisons.
Yeah.
And they understood something that a majority of people don't understand, and that's that music first affects your thoughts, that affects your feelings, that affects your words, then that affects your actions, that affects your behavior, then that determines your destiny on whether your destiny
Yeah.
is positive or if your destiny is negative.
Yeah.
And so that article really shifted how I was able to see the music industry, being that you're never going to see a commercial without music, because the
Yep.
music tells your body and your
Yep.
biological makeup how you should feel at any given moment. So I started doing all this research on the power of music, and you're right, because it's like super, super deep.
Yeah.
We are gonna need a part two if I go into what I started to run up on in terms of how powerful music is. And so all this time I've been working on the book and everything. And then last year in August, I had already created this album literally about 7 years ago. And I put it out, and then I didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And it was almost like I put it out and then was like, And you never know why you're doing stuff, because it doesn't make any sense when it's
Yeah.
happening. Like, why would I make an album and then just sit on it or not do
Yeah.
anything with it? So this past year, all of a sudden it was just like really strong and resonating with me to re-record it. Actually, I wasn't going to re-record it, but my guy, Dr. B Serious, which that's a whole
Yeah.
nother conversation.
Yes. Shout out to Dr. B Serious.
Exactly. Dr. B was like, you should re-record everything. I was like, everything? What? Let's record it. He was like, but your voice has matured in 7 years. You have a different experiences, different things you've gone through. You should re-record it. So I re-recorded, have my guys, Bonkers and Wes and Dr. B, True, they all did the mixing for it, Joshua. And then around March of last year, I'm waiting for Dr. B to send me back the master, right?
Yeah.
Not last year, it's about to be last year, but March of this year, I was waiting for the masters. I'm like, whoo, yes, the album is ready, about to put it out. My husband and I fly to California. We were literally staying next to like Disney World at a conference. And I remember us driving to the airport, and I have so many stories.
Tell them.
Miracles of things that have been happening during this whole thing. So I'm waiting. I'm thinking March, I'm about to release the album, about to put it out to the world. My husband and I are in California. We had switched places with Dr. B, by the way. He had just come from California, but he was mastering, him and Bonkers were mastering everything. But I was waiting for him to send back the master, which means we could release it to the world.
Right.
And we're in California and we're listening to the radio, and they were like, yo, they just shut down the NBA. And I'm like,
yeah.
I was like, babe, something's about to happen. I don't feel, it's weird. And I was like, they had started talking about shutting stuff down. I was like, look, I don't want to get stuck in California. I like California, but I want to be
Not
at home.
That much,
And it was crazy because I didn't know, and this is how amazing God is. I didn't realize that the airline had changed our flight without our knowledge.
Okay.
We were supposed to leave out at like 2 or 3 that afternoon, which, you know, we're like 3 hours ahead on the East Coast. And they changed our flight back in December, but I just didn't even notice. And so we would have gotten home at like 10 p.m. And this is how I know God be looking out for me. It's small, but it's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
So we're we realized that our flight's actually at 7 a.m. now, and we're gonna have to get up at 3 a.m. Los Angeles time to catch the flight. So we get up, we catch the flight, we get back home around 1, whereas we would have gotten home at 10 p.m. My husband's like, yo, we going to the store. You go to Dollar Tree, I'm gonna go over to Walmart, we're gonna make groceries. I'm like, okay. And so we did that. Some say get some toilet paper. I was like, okay, get some toilet paper. Jamil, the next day, we went back to the store. All the toilet paper was gone. And I was like, if God had switched our flight 4 months ahead of time in order for us to get home at 1 p.m. earlier, we would not have toilet paper. And like toilet paper is like the worst thing to be without to me, because I'm like a germaphobe. So but it's like little things like that happen.
Yes, I hear you.
But
you're always getting watched out for, because it sounds like a small thing, but them things important. Because you be all outside of your face if you ain't got the right stuff. I'm gonna tell you.
Exactly. But through that whole, so we get back, then the world shuts down, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be putting my album out, and Dr. B's like, just sit with it. He was like a fairy god angel during that whole time. He was like, well, take this time and just perfect something on it. So I'm like, okay. So we slowed it down, and so putting it out in March became putting it out in July. But with the quarantine, it slowed everything down in terms of being able to film music videos or do anything. And so this is how you know what you're supposed to be doing is like going to be super effective, and it's holding some weight, because when I tell you, in addition to everything going on with coronavirus and my business took a hit, like where all of the clients disappeared, like, which I'm sure a lot of people went through the same thing.
Oh yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm still supposed to put this album together, and all of a sudden it was like the Trials of Job just started. I'm from Louisiana originally. My aunties, there was this huge hurricane that came through Lake Charles that destroyed 2 of my aunties' homes. So we went down there to help them out. This was 2 days before I was supposed to be filming. So filming the music video. So we had to drive opposite, because we were filming in Atlanta. We drove to Lake Charles in a day, got stuck in traffic because it was FEMA and all the trucks and stuff, drove back. So when I filmed, I was literally on zero, starting on zero. And 2 weeks before we were supposed to film the music video, all of a sudden I went like, it wasn't totally blind, but like pretty much blind in my right eye. And I'm like, what is going on? I think something had gotten in there and was on people or something like that. But I couldn't do everything that I needed to do. I couldn't even see my computer screen because it was too bright. And so I'm the type who likes to have everything in control and in order. And I had no control for the first time ever in life. But one of the things that I learned during that period was that because I had no more control, all of a sudden it was like the universe, God, whatever name we want to call, took over everything. Now I've heard that back in church. I was like, these people making this stuff up. God is being in control. Okay. I ain't heard no real miracles. I only heard the 2,000 years ago miracles, but I ain't heard none of y'all like convincing. But when I tell you that stuff started happening, that like to your regular mind you wouldn't think would be possible. For instance, I have a lot of for instances.
Yeah.
Where like I'm with the stylist Frank. Shout out to Frank Pompey.
Yeah.
We're out getting all the outfits for the music videos. And internally, I'm an independent artist, so there's no major label funding anything,
Okay.
and it takes, funds to put stuff together. So I'm like, internally, my daddy was like, everybody hates Chris daddy, you.
Yeah.
He was like, you pinch the pennies or whatever. So that's these two mindsets are going on in my mind. So in my mind, I'm like, oh God, it's a pandemic. Why am I spending money on clothes for a music video? I know I need this, but I'm like, okay, God, if I'm supposed to really be doing this instead of pinching my pennies right now in a pandemic, let me know. So I had just spent like $300 on something, and I'm in my brain, I'm sweating like, ugh. And so I log onto one of my investment accounts, and the exact amount of money I had just spent, one of my stocks had jumped up in profit the exact same amount.
Yeah. Wow.
And I was like, God,
wow.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Whoa, hold on. This is kind of blatant, like the exact same amount. Like I just spent $320 and the profit had jumped up $320. And I was like, oh shoot. Okay. I think you want me to keep going. Okay, we'll do that. Here's another instance. So mind you, I'm blind. I told you I had lost my eyesight in my right eye. It started coming back literally while we're helping my aunties at their house because of the hurricane. That week was so crazy.
That's a lot going on.
A lot.
Yeah.
I have no more job, right? I'm helping my aunties, trying to get all the booking together for the music videos. Like it was heavy. It was a lot. Trying to get the clothes together, but still, wanting to be there for my aunties while doing this thing that I feel like God wants me to do right now. So I'm trying to book with one eye. Well, I had like a little pirate patch. Trying on my computer like I can't see.
Doing that pirate work.
Right. So I had the pirate patch on. I'm trying to book things. I found this really cool rustic spot that I wanted to shoot one of the music videos in, but for whatever reason, the guy, I wanted to shoot outside of his place. So I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? So he quoted me a price, and then he was like, oh wait, you want to shoot outside? That's gonna be $400 more. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. I'm not feeling that. And then he just disappeared. And I was like, dang, I really wanted to shoot there, but why is he trying to upcharge me? Like all this kind of stuff. So to make a long story short, I'm working with the makeup artist on the days of the actual shoot, and still haven't booked everything because I can't see. Right. And so I ended up working with the makeup artist, and I was like, well, his spot looks kind of cool on the outside. Maybe we can film outside of his place. And so he was like, okay, well, I don't really have a pass to do that yet. We got to get permission. So long story short, he gets permission to have us film there. And so he was like, well, go look around the property and see, where it is that you want to film it. So we go look around. Okay, I kind of like this. This is really nice. And then God says, go back and look at the place that you originally wanted to shoot at. I'm like, okay. Well, the guy tried to upcharge me. And so I went back to the email and looked, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the same place, and I did not know it.
Oh man.
Just around the corner, like in the back, and I didn't know that it was the same exact place. So God was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have it to where you can film here for free, no money, nobody can upcharge you.
Wow.
You're gonna get everything that you wanted. And I had no clue that they didn't even know each other, they weren't connected, anything like that.
Yeah.
And so through this whole process, it's been like instant miracle after miracle of little things like that happening. Which I had always heard that miracles were possible and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I started experiencing them when I started really, really studying like the Hebrew and trying to learn the
Yeah.
real deep metaphysics of God, the physics, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we filmed three music videos in 4 days. It was a lot of different things going on, even in the lives of the people that were involved, like the videographers, the editors, everybody right now is going through it. So, you know, for us to be able to come together and create something was a miracle in and of itself, because everybody's going through things. So the music videos were epic. They were so much fun to create. And now we're in December, and we finally released the first single called I Am That I Am. So I feel like I just told not even a pinch, like my grandmother used to say. I haven't even told a pinch of everything that happened, but I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now, in the middle of a pandemic, which makes no sense. But I literally had a dream about what actually happens in the music video. And I was like, I wonder if we could personify this in film, like what I saw in my head. And so I went into that. I know I've been talking a lot. Do I need to pause for a moment?
Well, no, you're doing great, because you setting a backdrop for everything, and I like that you're sharing what has been the process of you doing it. And one of the just I think powerful things that somebody watching this will be able to hear too is how when there's something that God has for you to do, you're gonna go through some things that put you in positions you're not used to. You may get tired, it may be a big pull on you, but it allows you to get these confirmations, these divine confirmations. And I like that you're sharing that there's been times you were at the edge of knowing how much further you could go, and you got things with family, still shooting everything, and you're seeing these miracles after being stretched, So I'm loving this. You detailing the process. You pay 320 and you're seeing a rise after stretching yourself, so that's amazing. And now we're getting to the single. So let me ask you this. As we go into the talk about the single, how would you describe your sound? How would you describe your sound for this album? What is someone going to hear from you when they hear this album? And then we're going to go into I want to go into the singles, and you kind of talk about them a bit.
Okay. I would say a running theme in this album is remembering who you are. That's recurring. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Yes, it's a pandemic. Yes, you may have lost your job. Yes, it seems like everything is like the world is caving in around us. And so I remember distinctly having this argument, if you will, with God. Like, why am I blind right now? I can't afford this right now. Like, I need to go to the computer. Like, I can't see out of this eye. And I'm like having this mental, verbal argument with God, and I hear like vividly, you lost your vision because you lost your vision.
Talk to me. Talk to me.
Ooh, oh, my bad, God. Okay.
Right.
And rewind, probably a year and a half ago, there was this period of time where I wasn't able to sleep. And during this time, I was getting what I call software downloads.
Yeah.
And during one of the software downloads, I heard God, it was like that vivid voice woke me up at 3 a.m. I'm like, look, I'm asleep. Like, why are you waking me up?
Right. Right.
And then I'm like, okay, what we talking about tonight? And he was like, you can't serve God and money. And that's all he said. I'm like, you woke me up at 3 a.m. Just tell me that.
Yeah.
In what way have I been serving money exactly? And so I just laid there like, have I been serving money? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking about it, how our whole lives are centered around chasing the bag or chasing the next dollar, or it's all about survival. You got to get to the cheese, the bag, in order to survive, to pay your mortgage, to pay your house note, to pay your rent. It's all about surviving and chasing the bag. And so I was like, well,
everything.
Exactly. I was like, well, how do you live? What else is there? Like, I don't know any other way to live other than that. And so during this whole pandemic thing, when I tell you that I started to find out what it meant to live for God versus chasing the bag all the time, and that God will add everything else that you need when you need it, like getting random $500 checks in the mail for no reason from people that you have no clue. And I'm like, or like a clash action settlement that you didn't know you was a part of, and they send you a $500. What? Like, I had heard about that on The Secret, where they're like, oh, you just get law of attraction and blah blah blah. But I had never like really blatantly experienced that side of it. She's like, oh, now I see what you're talking about. I told different people, like different people pulling on me for different projects, wanted me to be a part of things. I'm like, no, I gotta do this, and I gotta stay focused on this. Take Flight, the album. And so No ID actually gave me my name a while ago, the name Ava the Aviator. And I was like, that's kind of cool. We were at the studio, and he's like, should be
That's Common's producer, right?
Yeah. Common, he just put out Janae, is it Aiko? I think that's her last name.
Yeah.
No, Allegra, Kanye West's his mentor. That he, and that's a whole nother story in itself, because he was extremely instrumental in waking me up. I thought I went there to try to get a record deal, be in the music industry, because you know, you move to Atlanta, that's what you're doing. You moving there to get a record deal. But meeting No ID, I was actually introduced to the world of consciousness. We used to have everybody, Latoya, Iraq, used to have these really, really deep conversations about metaphysics, about God, about the world and stuff like that. And it really shifted how I saw the world in my perspective. And so he was like, you should be the Aviator. I was like, okay. Why?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that came from him.
Yeah. And it stuck, because people like
exclusive information in today.
Yes. So I was like, well, why? He was like, because you fly. And I was like, I like that. Okay. And that's a huge compliment coming from him, because he ain't no complimenter type person. So but through that, like my life started to mimic that. Like even with my job and well, I wouldn't even call it job. My life's work has been being on airplanes, going to fly and speak, or going to fly and do music, or having elevated thought. And so I was talking to one of the people I look up to, Brother Terry Phillips in Minnesota, and I was like, Lord, Brother Terry, everything's going on with the corona and all this kind of stuff. And he was like, Ava, you are the aviator. He was like, if you're on the airplane, isn't it a given that you might go through some turbulence? He was like, but you got to keep flying till you get to 10,000 feet. And I was like, okay. So to answer your question, and this year, man, like it's forced me to do that. When I tell you, like, this has been the most beautiful, hardest year I've ever been through, but it's been actually one of the best years, even though it's the hardest year, because it tore away like my little things. You know how we have little things that keep us from doing things, like you'd be like, oh, I want to lose 10 more pounds before I come out, or I want to get my hair down my back before I come out into the world. Or we have like real shallow things that make no sense before we claim we're gonna do something. But and there's different truths that I've always known that I haven't shared until this year, because that tearing of if you don't speak, there's gonna be people's blood on your hand. There's gonna be people's lives that would be lost if you didn't speak up and tell the truth. So I would say the theme of Take Flight is flying no matter what. Like you gotta stay elevated. And I know it's like, because I was watching a lot of television and the news, and I had to stop watching because it was making my plane do like this. Sky, I was like about to be on the ground again, maybe crashing and burning even. And I had to get focused on what my life's work is about. And so I remember jogging. I was out jogging one day, getting some sun, and I was like, there's some songs that I definitely know. There's some things I need to say in this album. And I'm jogging and I hear the words. It was like almost like in the wind, like God was whispering the words to me. And he was like, in every breath. Oh, he said, I'm every breath you ever breathe. Basically saying, I am every breath you'll ever breathe. All things work out to those who believe. You'll have all that you'll ever need. Faith the size of a mustard seed. I was like, And I was like, shoot, I'm running. Let me write this down real quick. Right. And I'm like, shoot, I don't have nothing to write this down. So I had to sing it, the voice note to my phone. And so even before the quarantine, a year ago, I had what I call a software download, a spiritual universal software download, where all at once you'll know like an essay worth of things that I can't even explain it. It's just like something comes to you all at once. And so in this particular instance, I had a dream one night, and that's actually the lyrics of the first verse is, I had a dream one night that opened my eyes to who and what God is. I'm standing in a room, and this literally happened in my dream. And just to give backstory on my dreams, like I've been a dreamer since I was a kid. I see things before it happens. Or sometimes I'm like, dang, am I off of that so Raven? That's what Raven, she'd see stuff and try to switch it up real quick. Hey, what is about to happen? So that's me, just to give you backstory on who I am spiritually from that point of view. So just to give it perspective, when I was in high school, I remember having a dream that there was an earthquake and I could hear like kids yelling. And I walked down the steps and my dad was watching television and they were like, there was just an earthquake in Brazil. And I was like, oh my God. Like that was the first instance where I started like getting knowledge of this gift. One of the second times that I knew there was something up with my dreams was I was dreaming that I was on a subway in London and that a bomb had gone off. And so at this point, I had learned to get up and pray and against whatever was happening. So imagine I'm in like high school. I'm like in 11th grade. Not really sure of my spiritualness yet. But I was like, God, could you protect everyone that's on the subway? I don't know why I'm having this dream. That's at 5 a.m. At 12 p.m., I wake up, log on Yahoo. Internet had just started getting big. Yahoo.com. Google wasn't around yet. And they're like, there was a bombing in London on a subway, but that no one had gotten hurt. And I was wow, okay.
Wow.
I got to take this gift seriously. So when God sends me a dream or when he's trying to reveal something to me, it's not just for me. So this particular dream was I was in a room. Have you seen the movie The Kingsman?
Yeah.
You remember in The Kingsman where like one of their obstacle courses was that they would be in a room where it would fill up with water and they had to not panic and find their way out. And if they drown, they just drown. So in my dream, that's what I saw. I was standing in the room that was filling up with water. And so obviously what most people start to do, we panic. So I'm like, oh Lord, I'm about to drown. And so all of a sudden I hear this like large, majestic voice that says, don't panic, just breathe. And the breathe was like this unexplainable, majestic sound. It was an ultra sound, if you will.
I like that.
And so it like I don't want to say weakened me, but it like humbled me. And so I just I breathed and I became calm. And all of a sudden the room that I was in where there was water, all of the water turned into this like amniotic sac. And I was inside of the sac like I was a baby. And I was, oh my gosh. Like it was like in one instance I understood what God, like creation, I understood metaphysics, I understood water, I understood all of this in one moment. And then like the scene changed and I saw Peter. If people remember the story of Peter in the Bible, he was the one that was walking on the water. And then the water, as he was walking on the water, when he was having faith, of course, he could walk on the water. But then when he didn't have faith, he started to drown. So in the dream, like Yahweh, God, whatever name we want to use, starts to morph the water. So the water, it first is water, then it becomes an amniotic sac. Then I see Peter walking on top of the water. Then I see Peter start to drown. And what I believe was being revealed was that water actually takes on the belief of the person that is around it. So you can have the Titanic. Well, I don't know if we want to use the Titanic as the example. Not that a boat, a large boat. Like floating on the water, it weighs tons. Like, how does that even work? So a boat that's tons can be floating on the water, but then, you know, a person may end up drowning that weighs like 100 pounds. And so then I heard the words, your breath is air, that's water that has been evaporated. You have in life according to what your measure of faith is. So almost like your faith is weighted. So what the Egyptians used to say, you have to be light as a feather. Or your heart has to be light as a feather or something like that. And so I understood that water is deeper than we think it is. There's more to this water stuff. Let's see why. That's why I got this right here. And when you break down the etymology at the end of the song, I break down the etymology of water, and how water, when you break down the words in the etymology, not like, you know, Webster or anything like that, but if you go all the way down to the root meanings, hydro means water, gen refers to genes, and then oxygen is like a sharp, it says sharp acid formation or creation. And I was like, whoa, hold on. You mean to tell me that the actual meaning of the word water is creation or formation, meaning things are created? So then you got to go back to Genesis 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with form, and the Word was God. And God created the heavens and the earth was without form, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and all there was water. That also, Egyptian, was it noon? How am I saying it right? I'm talking about the waters of creation. Watchmen, the movie Watchmen, where the guy, Mr. what is his name? I can't remember. You know, Mr. Manhattan, and he's showing how he created things with the water. And so I'm like, oh shoot, like we got to start like valuing this. Like this is not just, oh, it keeps you healthy. What did they say killed Corona back in March before they started censoring everything? They're like, drink water. So I'm like, water is deeper and more powerful than we give it credit for. And so after I had this dream, I just wrote it down and forgot about it. But then when I started to create this song, I Am That I Am, I had this epiphany another night about what I am is, and it's an anagram. And when you twist the symbols around, you get another picture or perspective of what I am actually means. And so probably on part 2, I'll have to break it down because I need a marker to show what I saw in order to really break it down. But that's where it was a little dream that birthed the video for I Am That I Am. And so that's the first single, which is super near and dear to my heart, because shortly after I make the song, then I start living what it feels like to have God have you in an amniotic sac, metaphorically speaking, at a time where there's no resource. Or my cousin said it best. He was talking about you'll be prosperous in famine, or there's some scripture. So this album is really it's really armor, so to speak. It's sound, you know how to talk about sound healing and frequency. This song, actually, Dr. B and I put this together. The whole album is 432 hertz, which is like the healing frequency. And so I wanted it to be something when people would listen to it, it would heal their DNA, it would heal their mind. I know when this all first started happening with Corona, I couldn't sleep. And I would listen to I Am That I Am in the middle of the night over and over in order to remind me I am that I am. Like, God knew all of this was going to happen. Just relax. And so this music, not only for everybody else, it's been therapy for me. I've been listening to my own music, like reminding myself.
That's when you know it's real, when it works for you. If it works for you, then you know that it's something you want to share. And I think that even we only just got to that one single, but we are water.
Mm-hmm.
We are water ourselves, you know? So you were talking earlier about musical frequencies, and they know when you speak negative, it corrupts the water crystal cells in your body. But you're creating, you got a music, and you've even put it to the right frequency in the way that it's intended to be, to help heal the cells, to help heal the water in us, to help heal that life that's in us. So that's powerful. We need that reminder. We need that reminder of who we are, and we need that message of healing, because there's so much out there telling us that we don't have any power, we don't have any control, that we should be consumed in the uncertainty that's coming. So I just think that that's so powerful when we allow ourselves to be led to create something that goes against the stream, that goes against the stream that's coming into the world. I love that.
Yes,
I love that.
And like, I was like, well, why now? And why? I felt like at the time, I felt like Yahweh or Yah, whatever name we want to use. I'm starting to use the Hebrew name more often than the English name, so to speak. I'm like, why you keep pushing my deadlines back? The album was supposed to be released in March. That didn't happen. They shut the world down. Then I put the music out in July, but realized I was like, okay, we can't market it without the music video. Then there was a lot of pushbacks with the editing and the deadlines with that. And so I'm like, well, what is going on? And then I realized that the releasing of this music is actually even more deeper than I realized.
Yeah, right.
And I realized when you look at the Ethiopian calendar, is it 2020, 2012, or is it 2021, 2012?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, now I get why you was like not letting stuff come out when I thought it was supposed to come out. Like there's a reason why you have a song like A Dawn of a New Day that is going to be released on the new year or at the new year. And the significance of what that actually means is more profound than I realized it would be. And so my main thing is to just do my part and to helping people keep their mind at ease, to keep their spirit at ease, because you can't bring good things into your life if your vibratory state is down here, is always negative. Turn the TV off. You don't have to see what happened every day. Turn the TV off.
Take a break from Fox and CNN. Take a break, y'all. If y'all watching this, it's all right to watch it, but take you some breaks. Take a walk.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Take a break. And so I was like, take a break, take a moment. And with this album, there's a lot of different themes on it, in terms of things that keep you remembering who you are, regardless of what's going on in the world, or self-evaluation. There's some really deeper themes, like on the song Mistaken Identity, which speaks to people who have been mistreated sexually. And a lot of them have created like a rah-rah movement around it, instead of saying me too. Like they really should be bringing their what do they call the people, like they're really the victims, and they should bring
Yeah.
the people who abuse them to light. So there's a song about that. There's a song called "Rise Up Israel," which is that's going to be the third single that'll be coming up. So I'm really, really excited about what's going to be coming forth and the meanings behind everything. And I have so many.
You just said something about a song that's very powerful, even about the being mistreated sexually thing and putting your perspective. I think that's so key. See, those are whole other that's whole other shows. You know what I'm saying? That's powerful.
Exactly.
In the new day. Yeah, so I'm excited for these releases that you're doing.
And what's
but go ahead.
About A New Day, that was the verse. Dawn of a New Day is the very first song I ever made in the studio. I was interning. I was an intern for the first time at I remember now it was Angel Beach Studios. And they let me in the studio by myself, and they walked away, and I was like, he started playing on the machine. And the song that I came up with when they walked out the room was Dawn of a New Day. I was like 17 years old. And of course, we released that version of it when we were younger, and people love that song to this day. And nobody even knew I was working on the album, but all of a sudden, people started putting on my timeline, Dawn of a New Day. I was like, like it's been what, 20 years? And like all of a sudden, people started like saying that song still speaks to me. So we recorded it, my sister and I, Noel, as adults, and remixed it and mastered it and everything. But I think it's so significant because I'm like, so you wanted me to wait until the Ethiopian calendar that the Mayans say it's 2012 to release Dawn of a New Day, but you had me make it when I was 17 as a high school intern in a studio. Like that kind of stuff you can't make up, you know.
You can't.
So I'm excited. That single's gonna be released at the New Year point. So that's like a whole nother conversation. So I'm really, really excited about what this album can do for people in terms of keeping them sane about everything that's going on, healing them, and really being able to thrive versus surviving, which is the mode a lot of people are in. And then it's just jamming. Like I'm a producer as well, so I did 100%, probably 95% of all the tracks are produced by me. The writing, with the exception of like maybe 2 or 3 songs, was all written from, I would say, from God, like just giving me them software downloads. And so I'm really excited to share with people some deeper things that don't get talked about. They're like, oh, are you a gospel artist? Are you an R&B artist? What are you? I'm talking about everything. I don't know what category, because I'm like, the gospel people are gonna hear some relationship songs, and people who want to hear R&B are gonna hear some about I Am That I Am. You got to figure out what that's about. Then you got some songs about mistaken identity, talking about people who were molested and sexually abused. So we really go into some deeper things. There's another song called Avoiding Heaven, which I just think is brilliant. And the words are, I've been avoiding heaven all because hell is familiar. And I went through this period in my life where I started noticing as long as my thoughts were higher, good things would happen in my life. And then when I would get scared and doubtful, and like I'd lose clients, my money, all of a sudden I'd be in overdraft, or like something bad would happen. And so one day it just came to me, you've been avoiding heaven because hell is familiar to you. That's what you're used to living. And I was like, ooh, that's. And then I heard like, it's you that chose that job. It's you that chose that man. It's you that chose that lady that you claim you can't stand. It's you who wants fame and will do anything to get it. We're the ones that's creating our lives. Everybody want to blame Christians, want to blame the devil. Everybody want to blame somebody else. Oh, he did this to me. I'm blaming this person. No, it's you. And the sooner that I understood it was me that was creating the world, as horrible as the world can be sometimes, or as great as the world can be sometimes, it's me. It's these thoughts that's created at all times. And so even that song is extremely deep. It's heavy. And then there's another song called I'm Moving Yahweh. And that really song, kind of a rebellious type song, regardless of like the police brutality and all the things they're doing to try to kill our people, vaccines, tracking devices in them. Like, I'm like, regardless of all of that, I'm moving Yahweh, no matter what. And so it's kind of a anthem of sorts. Then there's Slow Down, where it's about dating. I wrote this song before I got married, but it was talking about slow down, ask the right questions, because everybody want to be hot girl summer or whatever, but you don't know if you dating a mass murderer or not. You better ask these questions. So that song's about that. There's a song called Earth, Air, Water, Fire, and it talks about the elements and how, like, God has put everything in the earth that we actually need. But we just got to remember who we are, that we're made of the same stuff as the earth and stars, as NDRE says. I feel the same salt water like the ocean. And so when you start to see that you're connected to everything, it gives you a different perspective on who you are. And you start to realize your power when people are trying to take it away from you. Then there's a song called Never Go Back, which is one of my favorite. It's like a African R&B type, I don't know how to describe it, feel good song, but it basically talks about never going back to the old way you used to be if that's not who you want to be. Then there's Rise Up Israel, and that can be taken multiple ways. It can be taken as a metaphor. It can be taken as literal. It can be taken as a call to action for especially Black people to wake up. Like, folks trying to kill you out here, and you like, well, no, they don't want to do that. They're looking out for. No, they're not looking out for your best interests. You are you going to have to heal yourself. Heal yourself. You're capable. You have that power. So that's that one. There's Eyes Wide Open with Baby Boy and Jason 804. That's obviously about, our eyes being open instead of shut to what's going on in the world. And then there's Take Flight. I actually just went through the songs backwards on the album, but Take Flight is about, a life of ascension, if you will. There's a line in there that I think is really empowering. It says, I've been fat, I've been thin, still loving the skin that I'm in. And I think that we stop ourselves from doing different things because of our self-image and how we see ourselves. And so, and I struggled with that even, like, dang, I ain't got my stomach off yet. You want me to go film a music video? Lord Jesus. I need to do some push-ups, some ab work first. You're like, okay.
Everybody else in the pandemic, ain't it?
Exactly.
You and everybody in the pandemic.
I'm like, you like, okay, so you go, because you wouldn't put the food down, you want to hold up from the world this music that I'm releasing? Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
Especially in this social media age too, that's a battle in this scene. Yep. Absolutely.
You're going to get the raw version of me because I have nothing left. Corona has stripped it all, so whatever version is showing up that day, that's what you're going to see. So
I think because it sounds like there's so much of you. This album is you. You've produced it, you've written on most of it, so and I've listened to it. I love like the sound of it, but also the metaphors you put in it, where it's a good balance. It's a great balance where it's a powerful sound, but then it's also a message in it. And I think you got a good balance on how you have put that together on the different singles. So I'm really loving that. I'm hoping a lot of people get a chance to hear this and put it out there and be impacted, the same way.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm hoping they listen to the words. Like really, like a lot of people don't just sit with music anymore because we always got something going on. But I'm like, if you got some beats by Drake or like some really good headphones, put them on and listen to the whole album. Like, there's some deep stuff on there. There's another song called "Love Will Make It," and that song is about like, especially being in a relationship. Like everybody like talks about get into marriage or being in a relationship, and that's kind of like a trophy. But like when you and your spouse go through something like a pandemic together, that's when you find out what love is like on another level. Like I saw my husband go into protection mode, or there were things that happened during this time frame that showed his love for me. And of course we had like trying times, with this song called Love Will Make It. Like everything is not always gonna be, a skip through the tulips, but there's this unconditional I don't know, it's a stretch or like what I'm trying to say, Jamil?
It's like a through line. There's a string that holds it all together.
Oh my gosh. And this is when you really find out who each other is. And this is where I was like, this man got my back. And now he knows I got his. We can face the world together no matter what happens. And so that's what that song is about. And so it really covers a lot of different communities, if you will, that can get something from the music. So I'm really, really excited about it. And I'm hoping that especially with me being an independent artist, I don't have a major label, making sure it's pumped on the radio 50 times a day, like most songs, have a engine pushing to make you like them, because they be having some songs I hate when they first come out, and then you hear it so much. You talk about that the power of sound.
Now you be loving it. You be loving some stuff you couldn't stand.
Exactly. Hope I'm gonna have to have God be my marketing team, because I don't have that engine behind it.
You end the season of it because we're never going back to the way things used to be, and people need new sounds. They need new ideas, and so that's why I think it's so amazing that you're able to tell your story about how even your release was getting delayed because there was a bigger purpose to it. And now we're heading into a new dawn of a new day, and none of us know exactly how that's going to play out. But what we do know is that this isn't a surprise to God, and people who've been listening to the Creator have been getting downloads to produce and manifest and birth things. So I think it's such a amazing process you've been through to put a new sound. I like when you said, hey, I don't know how to define this, because when the Most High does something, it's always fresh. It's not going to be like your parents and your grandparents did it, or your great grandparents. And what you're doing is fresh. It has a powerful message to it. So I think that God's already marketing it. He about to chance the rapper you. He about to just chance the rapper your work.
So I appreciate that. Chance the rapper you, Lord.
It just begin to flow into the earth. Right? Yes.
I love it.
Hey, Ava, can you let everyone know where to go to get information about all your products, how they can access your products and everything?
Yeah, everyone can go to avatheaviator.com. I don't know how to, if I can put this in the chat right quick.
I'm gonna put it in the chat, so don't worry
Okay.
about it. I can put you tell me the links and I'll put your link in the chat while you're talking.
Okay, so avatheaviator.com. When you go to the music link, literally that's all you need to go to, because once you hit music, it'll tell you, like if you are an Apple Music subscriber, it'll take you directly to the Ava the Aviator Take Flight link, or the Tidal, Spotify,
Okay.
or you can download it directly from my website, avatheaviator.com, which that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time about how music has been devalued with some of the streaming services. So I would prefer if people would download it directly from me, because the streaming is for the artist. If in some years there's less and less music coming out, that's the reason why, because a lot of artists won't be able to make a living off of it. Or you'll see a lot of artists right now, they're doing like putting out lingerie lines, or they're putting out cologne lines, or clothing. That's because the music industry they've just devalued music in a way to where you don't make any money. You can't make a living off of it anymore. So they've taken starving artists to the next level. But I believe that we will be thriving instead of surviving as an artist in 2021, because that's what we speak over here. And so regardless of, for me, that none of this is really about the money, because I believe God pays for one of she's like a second mom to me, Lashana always says God pays for what he orders. And he showed me that when he, with my stock, he put the profit 320, the same amount I had just paid for. So I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this because I'm supposed to. And my purpose. And so I believe God will take care of everything else I need. And I believe that time is over anyway right now, with a lot of celebrities.
I agree.
Celebrities getting on here talking about, should I buy $80,000 purse? Girl, don't nobody want to hear that right now. We're in the pandemic. What?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see you something. And it's really, I told my mom, I was like, I don't know if I was in a Grinch mood or what, but I don't think it was a Grinch. It was more so I didn't feel like spending money on physical things. I just didn't have that urge this year. And I was like, well, I'm going to give spiritual gifts this year for my gift. Like, it's going to be, I'm either going to do an active service, or I'm going to do something for someone. But I think that time frame in which material things were a big deal is over. Now you might get them, and that's great, but it's not like, it can't be our focus anymore, or the rat race, you know what I mean? So but if you go to Ava the Aviator on YouTube, you guys, we'll put this up. I know, Jamil, you're gonna have this up on your page. I'll have it up on my page. Subscribe to both of our pages. And my page is Ava the Aviator. You just go in there and subscribe. You can see the I Am That I Am video.
What about
on that
YouTube too? Is your YouTube connected to Ava the Aviator?
Yeah, there'll be a link to the YouTube as well, where they can go and see all the videos. I also have like the lyrics up for, I'll be putting those up more and more, but some of the songs already have the lyrics up as well. So you can see just how deep this song is.
Y'all
you can't appreciate
stop getting hypnotized by these beats that taking y'all to y'all lower self all the time. And that's what everybody doing. Listen to these words so your mind can get some healing and some transformation, y'all. She got some powerful lyrics in these songs with some powerful sounds with it, you know.
Exactly.
So definitely go. I want all y'all to go to her page, subscribe, download the music. Don't pirate. Let's support this. We got to support good music, good production, and when people are putting their heart on the line, we got to support it. And I think we get more from it, you know. So definitely, I want everybody to support this sister's work. Go to that link. Go to her site.
Oh, and I put my life on the line, y'all. I'm just, I put it on the line. So you gonna feel it. You gonna hear it in the music because there was nothing left but the raw truth.
Yes,
that's what this year has done to me. So definitely support.
Hey, strip us all down, right?
strip. Thank you. So I definitely will have to do this again when Dawn of a New Day comes out. Because I know, you know, we always have deeper talks and everything. So
yeah.
I would love to go through and talk to the deeper meanings of some of the other songs that's going to be coming out in the future.
Yeah, we definitely going to do that because in this conversation, there's so much that I know we could have went into from beginning to end. So I'm looking forward. I enjoyed this conversation. I put the link in there about the secret meeting between hip hop. For anybody watching this, go read that link. I put that in there. Ava's website link is in there. Go support it. Sister, did you have anything else you wanted to leave everyone with before we close out?
I would say the last thing I would say is remember who you are. Yeah. In this time frame. Don't let your mind get usurped by other people's agendas because that's what's happening. Rich people made more money this year than. So what that tells you is not everybody's starving in the pandemic.
Yeah.
And you get according to how you think in the moment. Yeah. Now, some of their practices and some of the stuff that they're doing to push, you know, the small businesses out is not good. But universal principle is they reign. He says, "I reign on the just and the unjust." So if you're using certain principles, it works for everybody. So I would say get focused on what you're supposed to be adding to the earth, not what they got you on TV watching every day. Cut it off, focus in on who you are and what you're supposed to be doing and what it is that you're supposed to be giving to the earth. And that's what this album is all about, is sparking you to who you are, how powerful, how majestic you are, how amazing you are, and letting your light shine, so to speak, for lack of a better term, cliche. But I think that would be the last thing. Definitely support, definitely subscribe on YouTube. We'll repost these again. And I'm just I'm very thankful that my first interview was with you, because I can go deep. And,
first of many more coming from many different individuals. You know?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you for having me.
Absolutely. And on your last words, I'm going to hold the fist up for you and drop the mic. Boom. You know what I mean? Definitely. Hey, sister, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everyone who tuned in and who will be watching the later broadcast with this Art Talk build. It was fun. This will not be the last one. We got a lot of stuff to have some conversations about, your new releases as they come, and the impacts of music on consciousness and the mind and behavior. Just a lot of things that I'm excited that we will talk about in the future. But to everyone out there, we just want to say peace, stay confident. You're here for a reason. You have purpose. And if you follow your purpose, you'll be provided for, everyone. So we're going to be out on that one.
Supernaturally provided for.
Supernaturally, absolutely.
All right, well, I appreciate you, brother.
All right, we'll be talking.
Sounds
Right.
good.